Welcome viewers, welcome to In Conversation with series, which we have been doing every Sunday with the business leaders and C-suite leaders and the professionals across the globe. And it's about the moment for Sea Change to take corporate leadership wisdom and experience from the successful leaders who are actually part of our, the speaking engagement. And in this series, I'm extremely delighted to host a business leader, the managing director of a very large enterprise in the country called Gujarat AV Chemicals Limited, GHCL as we call. And Mr. Ravi Shankar Jalanji has joined from Delhi. Welcome, sir, Mr. R. Jalanji. Welcome you to join this.
Thank you, Mr. Anand. Thank you very much for inviting.
And so I'd like to actually quickly introduce your profile to the viewers here, sir, before we get into our speaking engagement. And Mr. R. Jalan is a first-class honors degree in commerce, secured, and also a fellow member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, New Delhi, FCA. He has more than 37 years of experience in all companies put together in his wonderful career, corporate career. He has been working in different units of Dalmia Group of companies in different senior positions over the last 25 years. And recently, he is functioning as a managing director of Gujarat Heavy Chemicals Limited, GHCL. His main contributory areas include business structuring, deep-rooted operational control systems, raw material, purchasing, stores management, business planning, corporate focus, developing, R&D, marketing, exports, participation, diversification, and the modernization of plants and financial management. A true corporate leader is before us and with us, and he's going to share a lot of wisdom with us. Before I really move on to an interview in conversation, I'd also like to share very important inputs about Mr. R. Jalan. Mr. R. Jalan is the managing director of GHCL. He's the prime decision and policy maker, setting the tone of the company's values, ethics, and culture. Mr. Jalan is responsible for building an effective management team and charting the strategy of the organization. He has over 3 decades of experience in the corporate world and envisions GHCL as one of the best corporates in India. Mr. R. Jalan joined GHCL on 24 September 2002 as Senior Executive Director. On June 18, 2006, he was appointed as a Managing Director of the company by the Board of Directors. Mr. Jalan has an in-depth understanding of the business, excellent analytical skills, and is a firm believer in the power of teamwork. He has been instrumental in the phenomenal growth of GHCL in both soda ash and home textile segments. And he was ranked 29th in the list of the top 100 CEOs based on BT/PwC Best CEO Survey held in 2017. A chartered accountant by profession, his abilities in strategic business management has contributed significantly for the GHCL empire. With that short note, I thought I will get on to the business of doing conversation with Mr. Jalanji. Mr. Jalanji, I'd like to get across to the first segment of our conversation, which is about your school days and your family background, and also your college days, perhaps, to start with.
Yeah, Mr. Anand, first of all, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity of going back to my history of my childhood, because it's something touchy to me as well. I'm born in a very remote village of a very backward state, you can call it Bihar. And at the time when it was no light in the village, but I had a big dream at the time. Frankly speaking, the light was not there in the home, but my mind had a lot of lights. I had a very big ambition at the time. And how did this ambition build? 2 things. One, my mother was really a source of creating an inspiration in me to do something bigger in my life. And the second was somewhere when I saw some of the people with the lot of respect in the society. That also inspired me, that I want to also be seen as a person who can inspire the people, or who can build something successfully. So these are the two things which inspired me, and we moved forward. And all across my academic career, I have been a good student. Of course, a lot of financial difficulty, a lot of challenges in the system, but somehow because of these two inspirations to me, I keep on getting success in my life about the academic career. And then ultimately, I moved to Calcutta, which was for me was a very big city because I was coming from a very remote place. But somehow I somehow established myself. And in the beginning of itself, I was at my own in terms of taking care of my financial needs, because my father or my parents were not been able to support me on that. I used to do part-time job, and then I used to support my educations. And somehow in 1983 or 82, I got chartered accountancy certificate, and from there my professional career has started. A lot of challenges in my career from the beginning itself. First, I started with a company in Calcutta for 1 year, short stint, and then I moved to larger corporations, and there I was there almost around 4 years, and that was in Eastern UP, and there I got the foundation of my career, because that was a small organization, and that gave me a kind of an experience of everything, dealing with the industrial relations, dealing with the finance, dealing with the marketing, everything. I was kind of looking after kind of everything at that early stage of my career. And from there, then I moved to Dalmia Group in 1987, and I'm there with the Dalmia Group for 33 years now. Oh. And you can imagine, and in these 33 years, Mr. Anand, a lot of ups and downs in my career I have seen, and but yes, the determination of success, the determination of a pride, which I told you about my doing something in my life, has kept me always up on my mission, and that is the reason today I'm here where you see me.
Absolutely, sir. One of the reasons why this conversation, which I'm doing with all the business tycoons and professionals and business leaders like you, is that you all, do a lot of success, to build a lot of success stories. Of course, you started your career from the scratch, and then you build it up in a different spectrum. But most of the entrepreneurs, small business owners, MSMEs as we call, are really not being aware of what's really happening in the corporate world, because they are not actually in touch with them. I mean, they are not in touch with you, the business leaders. So we wanted to take the message of the corporate leaders like you. You also started in a very humble way, and gradually you put in phenomenal efforts and build this organization, build yourself to a career in a different dimension. This is going to be an inspiration for several of the small business entrepreneurs and business leaders, especially the upcoming leaders in the organization. That is the very purpose of these kind of conversations which I'm doing it. Thank you very much for sharing your personal, very brief personal story. Sir, now we move into the main segment of our discussion, which is empowerment of the business leaders, the upcoming business leaders and entrepreneurs across the country. So I titled this segment is called Empowering MSMEs and Business Leaders. So first question is about the career progression. After you finish your, the course, FCA, and you moved into a corporate entry, which is typically the Dalmia Group, or before that you worked for another organization for 4 years, you said. From there, how did you move your leadership, learning and leadership perspective year on year, or every decade? Probably you would have definitely achieved something bigger, something larger. So would you be able to share your experience?
No, Mr. Anand, we are very right, because you see, when you start your career, learning is one of the most important thing, and every day you learn something. And I had the same. When I started my career, like I said, I was in Calcutta in a company for a year. I think that was more. I was more of a doer. Okay, whatever I have been told, I was doing it. And then, but I was watching to my seniors, what perspective they have, how do they look at the things. It was more of a feeling within yourself. If you have a feeling of learning and you observe the people,
Right.
then probably it becomes easier for you to learn. So I used to observe those my seniors at the time, and that has given me a kind of a perspective that how the senior leadership thinks about it. Second, which is very important, is for me, and from the beginning of my career I have been, I always look at the other side's perspective also. Sometimes what happens, the leaders, they think from their own perspective. I always say that what is the person who is sitting across my table, how does he feels about it? What is his rationale of thinking about it? So this rationality of that thinking comes, and then when you take it kind of any actions or the decisions, you are holistically. You are looking at holistically. You are not looking at from your perspective. You are looking from the other side perspective as well. So that was the one thing. Second, I told you when I went to, and I purposely took that decision of going to a very small organization, and that is also Eastern UP, which is, you know, that is a very different ball game too. Purpose of that was that in a small organization, you will be able to learn everything together.
Absolutely.
So I started looking at even the industrial relations. That was too young for me as chartered accountant at the age of 25. You are dealing with that, and that too in the Eastern UP, you can imagine. So that learning of grasping all those knowledge, and I was fortunately, I just want to thank the person who under whom I was working there. He used to be he was a president of one of the Birla company. He has vast knowledge about the business. Okay, so. And like I said, I used to observe him. I used to learn from him every day. And that gave me a perspective of all the business nuances in the business. Of course, a smaller platform, but the nuances of the business nitty-gritty. So like I said, and then from there, like I said, when I moved to Dalmia, large corporation, we used to have 16, 17 companies, worked in a corporate office, worked under Mr. Dalmia, directly under our chairman, Mr. Dalmia. And then again, that bigger horizon, bigger strategy, bigger thoughts, dream. Yes. I started learning about the dream. See, before that, the dream was not there except my individual dream of becoming a successful person. But how do you visualize your bigger picture of your company? Bigger means look at something beyond the logical thinking. So those kind of a learning we had like I said, and I moved from one company of Mr. Dalmia to another company of Mr. Dalmia, and everywhere I've learned. So if you can ask me why how did this move of my career has happened? I would say that first and foremost, which is very one of the ingredients of my success, if you call it a success, is the learning ability or passion for learning. Second, again, and I just want to share that in 1997, I have been given a responsibility of managing a business which was closed, almost closed in Madurai, South India. A spinning business which was closed, virtually closed, you can say, not closed. And I have been told to go and revive that business. Okay. Now, no resources in that company. People were completely demoralized. And there was no money in that company. There's nothing there on the table to look at. The people, when you tell someone that I am working for this company, they will say, oh, that company has been closed. That was the perception in the market. But then I built, that's where I have learned the leadership of the man management. See, that is very important. The team which is completely demoralized, the team which has lost all the hopes, how do you inspire the team to do wonders? And I must thank the team in that period of time on my initiatives. They all work together. Oh. The team management bringing a dream in the team. See, when you give a dream only the purpose for the people to work for, then only you get success. If you don't give a direction, don't give a what you call purpose for what you are doing, if you don't give a bigger picture to them, then probably they are not going to engage with you. And if they don't engage, you can't do anything. It is a team. So first and foremost for success of any leader is to create a strong team. And the strong team does not mean the best people. I'm sorry. Some people say the best team makes the great team. No. Even the average people makes the great team. And like I said in Madurai, the same people, today when I started in 1997, the same people, they did wonders. Because we created a purpose for that. Why are you? What we want to see. And like I told you, in 1997, I didn't have resources, but I gave a dream to them that trust me, in another 5 years, this division will become, or this spinning mill business will become one of the best in South India. And the GTM used to be a benchmark at that time in the South India, in Tamil Nadu particularly. I said our company or our division will become better than GTM. So I gave that dream to them. They might have at the time might have thought I'm talking too much, but then in 5 years that has happened because of their efforts. So this is team spirit, team management. Those are the things which are important. Then I said from there the success we came to the GSCL, and Mr. Anand, I can tell you that when I joined GSCL, it was a manufacturing company, purely manufacturing company. We created a values. What is the purpose of our existence? Why do we work? Why do we work? Are we working only for the shareholders? Who are my stakeholders? What are the value system in our cultures to be there? We have created a value culture in our organization, and from there the journey of success GSL has started. And I can proudly say today is one of the most respected company in terms of when you talk about any stakeholder, be it about shareholders, we talk about the lenders, you talk about the society. Again, society is one of the very important stakeholders in your organization, because without society, can you grow? No, you can't. Vendors, can you grow without the vendors? No. So we identify the people or the segment which are going to be my stakeholders. Now my team knows that the purpose, why we are working for, what is our mission, and what is the value system we have. And that is the reason in 5 years, we have rapidly grown in our business.
Absolutely. In fact, sir, you have touched very, very important points for any upcoming leaders or entrepreneurs to learn. You started out with the passion for learning, then the learning adaptability, which you said beautifully. And you said a leader must have a very large vision for organization, not only creating large vision or the dream, but also you should be having an ability to communicate to the team so that the team should have a buy-in. When they have a buy-in, automatically things will get unfolded. What has happened for Madurai. Also, interestingly, you are actually new to Tamil Nadu, right? Even the language also an issue. When you came to Madurai, Tamil Nadu, definitely you wouldn't be knowing Tamil language, for speaking and communication. But yet, most of the employees probably from this side of the country. So, how did you really communicate and how did you really go gel with people? I guess you would have used a lot of art more than your brain and your mind.
No, Anand, you very rightly said the language. Still, I don't know the language I don't know much about the Tamil language, but it's a heart-to-heart discussion. There, the language is no barrier.
Absolutely.
I believe is that if you speak to someone with your passion, they understand the language.
True.
One more thing I just want to highlight when you said humbleness is also very important for a leader.
True.
And in my career, one of the, I would say, and which must have come from my parents, the humbleness. When I reached to Madurai, of course, the language was a big issue for me. But as I always believe that your heart-to-heart discussions, where you express yourself from your heart, the people understand that language. And honestly, I did not find any difficulty in communicating, because we had the meeting with the even at the worker level. We used to have the meeting with the staff level, group gathering also, and everywhere I have been able to communicate my feelings. And of course, my senior management team, they were helping me to translate that my language of English to their language. So I did not find any difficulty in communicating with the people.
Absolutely. That's really works because sometimes non-verbal communication and the intention works better than the words, the verbal
Yeah.
conversations. So thank you very much for
Yes.
sharing that experience, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, now we are actually moving into a little bit more on GHCL, Gujarat Heavy Chemicals, for people who do not know about this organization, which is a large enterprise. If you can little share about your organization and what exactly you do, the business you do, the contribution you do for the society in the sense like government, because you're all heavy taxpayers to the government of India, so that it goes back to society. So you can share your thoughts on that.
Yeah, Mr. Anand, GSCL is in existence for almost 37 years. And we started our journey from chemical, which is soda ash, which is used primarily for all washing powder, your glass, any kind of a glass, if you see, soda ash is there in that. It's also used for some medical purposes as well. And it's also being used for other like textile, your many other applications, silicate, which is all. So there are many applications for the soda ash. And so this journey we started in 1987, and subsequently we moved from when we took over the Madurai, so we moved from chemical to the textile. Like I said, we acquired a SIG company in Madurai, and from there then we made that division as a profitable division, and then we moved from there to the final product, which is a home textile. We make bed sheets, and we export the bed sheet to across the globe, be US, Europe, every part of the world. And that plant is in Gujarat. And so now we have these two main divisions. In addition to that, we have a small division where we connect with the customers. We have an edible salt, we have a spices, we have a honey, and this business is established in South India with Chennai. We have a salt producing facility at Vedaranyam, and then we have a refining facility at Chennai. So that way, these are the three divisions. In terms of the growth of the company, I would say that in last 5-7 years, we have phenomenal growth into the bottom line as well as the top line. We have grown our soda ash business almost double in last 7 years. And textile also, we have expanded in Madurai, we have expanded in the home textile, and so on. So journey has been exciting for us. But in addition to this growth, I think the most important point for us, which we must kind of feel proud about it, is that we created who are my stakeholders. We are not working only for our shareholders. So we define ourselves that we are serving 5 stakeholders. One, of course, the customer. Unless the customer is happy, we will not be able to do the justice to the other stakeholders. Second was the vendors. Even we believe that the people who are associated with us in terms of supplying the goods and services to us, they are a very important part of our stakes. They are very important to our family. Society again, very, very important for us, because unless we give back to we all come from the society. And if you don't repay to the society, we do a lot of social activity across all our locations. In Uttapara, which is a soda ash plant, or Madurai, we have a medical van in Tamil Nadu, we have a medical van in Gujarat, we have a medical agriculture, animal husbandry, many activities, professional training, women empowerment. Those things we do for the society, many activities. And I'm proud to say that even some of the large corporations, trusted corporations like Tata Trust, they support us in that initiative. So we put our own resources also, and we get the support from Gujarat government, we get the support from Tata Trust and many others. So that is our one stakeholder, employees. Now, you know that without the employee, nothing can move. So we
Absolutely.
believe that they are very important for us in terms of they are one of our stakeholders. And in the last is our shareholders or the investors. I'm not saying that the last means in terms of the priority, everyone is more important for us.
Correct.
But these are the four, five stakeholders we have for which the second thing which I just want to speak about is value. We built our value because you see when we are doing something, there has to be uh, some boundaries under which we have to work.
True.
So we have created the value system for our organization: trust, respect, ownership, and the teamwork. Both these words looks very simple, Anand. See, trust. We believe that unless I trust everyone, to whoever I touch in my life, be it in the family, be it in the business, we as an individual must trust every individual who touches our life.
Absolutely.
If I trust someone, then only the people will trust me.
True.
If I respect someone, then only someone will respect me.
True.
You see, and everyone wants to be respected. Everyone wants to be trusted.
Correct.
And if I want to be trusted and respected, I have to give the back same thing to the other people as well. And like I said, teamwork, as you know, that the team without teamwork nothing can happen.
Yes.
And whatever I do, I must take the ownership of that.
True.
Unless I take the smaller, I must believe that whatever I am contributing to the company or to the society, that is very important, and I own that. Because ownership gives you passion also. When you own something, then you get passionate about that.
Correct.
So these are the pillars we have built for ourselves, and these are the very, very important movement. One more thing, because of these value systems, I'm proud to say that our company graph of image into the society has gone multifold.
Oh, very nice.
Our investors community they are really admiring this company because of this value system, because of the trust which they have been able to get from our actions and our talking.
Absolutely, absolutely, sir. I'm really fascinated. Rather, I'm really amazed. Few points which you said. I believe since I'm in the industry for last about 27 years now, I find one thing which is very special in the Indian enterprises. The value system we talk more in the rat race of business. People don't talk much about value system. It's be there in the paper. It will be there in the document. But a leader sitting at the helm of affair as a managing director of a company, talking more, taking time more about the value system explanation, how you really bring that into action. It's something which is very special. I think this part of the world, which is India. I mean, it's all about India's ethos, I would say. So that is actually driving, even when we have so many crises which the country has faced in the past several decades, still we are able to survive and grow. It is only because of the value system and the trust, the respect we demonstrate consistently with people around us. Such a 135 crore population, 1.35 billion population, we are able to survive and sustain. It is because of this leadership, the value system leadership which you're all demonstrating at the helm of affairs. I really have a big salute to your explanation on that. Sir, you also talked about the ecosystem, the complete ecosystem of the organization, right from the investors to the employees to the suppliers to everybody, customers, everybody. I'm sure that this will propel to attract more talents to your organization. People who are working in the organization are highly skilled and the talented people. That is because the framework in which you design your organization over the years. So could you talk about your talent pool?
Yeah, Anand, very rightly you said that we as an Indian, we sometimes talk more about what we do and we talk more than what we do, and completely in agreement with you. And my belief about those, it is what we are doing, both value systems as well as the stakeholders. We are not doing favor to anybody. It is for the success of an organization. If you want to be sustainable, if you want to exist perpetuity, You have to have these.
True.
People have to understand that if they don't follow this, sometime they will be vanished. You have seen in the past many groups, they have vanished.
Correct.
Why did they vanish? Because they did not recognize the importance of these things. I'm a firm believer of that without the society, you cannot exist for a longer period. And there are many examples where society has forced the organization to close down. Even in Tamil Nadu, one case has happened. So these are for the continuity of the business that is very, very important. Now coming back, what you said about the talent pool. Very rightly you said that without the talent, and particularly for a company like us, where we are a professionally managed company, it is not a promoter-driven company. And therefore, it becomes more important for us that we pursue that goal of talent pool. We have a very robust system of a talent pool. For every position, like for my position, there is already a successor for me. So we built that successor every stage, from my level to the level of, at least to the level of general manager, which is the second or third hierarchy in our organization. Personally, I review that. We have a training module. We have a very 6-monthly review of those performance of those people. Recently, we have identified almost around 170 people in the organization as a talent.
Oh, the future leaders?
Yeah, future leaders. 174 people, they are being now assessed, and this happens every year, assessed on the very scientific way. It is not something I felt he's good and therefore it should be considered as good. No. Performance is the one thing, but potential is also very, very important.
True.
See, sometimes performance does not mean the potential. I'm good at something, but I may not be good at the second level or third level of leadership.
Correct.
So for that, it is very important. And 174 people we have identified scientifically, we are assessing those people. And based on that, the development program all. We are going through that development program. So that way we are building the talent pool. We are lucky that we have a, and one more thing I just want to highlight, retention of our people in our organization is very, very high. Our attrition rate is almost around 2%, 2.5%.
Oh, okay. That's fantastic.
You will find, I told you myself, I'm working for the group for 37 years. You will find my kind of people, more than 20 years, you'll find many people on that.
Oh.
So in addition to the talent, we also bring the emotions of the people in the organization. And it is very important, Mr. Anand, to understand, unless I'm emotionally attached with the organization, my best will not come out.
True.
And for that, your association with the organization is very, very important. It takes time to emotionally get involved into the organization. We are like a family. So that way we are developing the talent. Every stage we develop the talent. And we have a policy that beyond the point, we don't want the people to work as a direct employee. They can be advisor. So that the new talent gets an opportunity on that position.
Absolutely.
So these are the things we do.
Now I understand why PwC has chosen the top 100 CEOs in 2017. And you, I think, consistently demonstrated this. I know because I've been associated with the organization also. So I could feel the vibratory levels which you have created in the organization across the spectrum of the employees. The kind of ownership people demonstrate when we talk to them is something fantabulous. Even when I get to meet people in Madurai, I could see that the involvement. It's like, as you rightly said, the word, which is very rare to find in the corporate leader saying, it's like a family. You use the word family. Because you are practicing it, it comes even subconsciously. The words are very powerful. Especially when the leader speaks, every word is powerful and it has got a lot of meaning in it. I really, I'm able to resonate, sir. I'm able to resonate your thought process on this. Thank you so much for sharing your organization perspective. And in fact, normally I have third segment, which is about society, but so well it was weaved by you that you integrated the segment 3, which is society, and segment 2, which is business. So that itself shows, you don't really discriminate society and business separately. It is actually one and the same. So thank you so much for covering both segment in one segment, and it's really interesting. The first time I'm hearing like this. And sir, we are now moving on to the fourth segment, which is about. In fact, I would like to take this interview in multiple episodes. Due to the time constraint, I'm actually now taking to the final segment, which is 4, which talks about looking back and going forward. That is a segment. So when you look back your journey of last 37 years, and also when you look ahead into the future, your future, ahead into the future. So how do you look at both the spectrum of looking back and going forward?
So, Mr. Anand, in terms of going back to my, like I said yes to you, I'm very happy man, because I never go back and crib about what I have not achieved. I think I'm very happy that whatever I have been able to do from a very humble background to this level. See, milestone could be much bigger, but that does not mean that that gives you a feeling that you have not achieved something. If I go back, like I said, if I go back, I feel happy that whatever I have done, either for myself, to my family, to the society, or to all my stakeholders, I feel proud that in the GSCL, which was a manufacturing company, has become a company of identifying the right stakeholders, identifying that what are the value system I should have. I'm really happy about it. If I go back, looking ahead, my dream is only one: that my company, if I talk to someone, he should say, "Oh, you are from GSL," without I introduce myself to him.
Okay.
He said, "Oh, you are from GSCL." Means the identity of the company should be demonstrated from my behavior, from the way I present myself.
True.
Either in the society or in any spectrum.
Absolutely.
I don't have, company will grow. If you have a right people, you have a right culture, you have a right business model, company will grow. But companies should grow with certain value systems. Company should grow with certain pride. For me, the pride is more important than the bottom line.
Wonderful.
I believe even if you earn 2 rupees less, but the people should respect what you earn, they respect that. I don't hesitate of saying, I'm a great fan of Mr. Tata. I don't know, I will not be able to reach to that level because they have taken different number of years. But my dream is to move towards that. That is the way I look at the company. Company will grow, like I said, company will grow. I don't have any doubt because we have the right people, we have a right business model, our thoughts are right, we have created a value system in the organization, we know for whom we are working for, we have a talent. But this talent, or my dream is, these talents and these people should take this company towards the success with the pride, not only the bottom line pride.
Absolutely. In fact, it's very, very interesting, sir. Whomever I talk to like this, so far I've done about 22 sessions the last during this COVID days of talking to business leaders around the globe. One thing I found with the business owners and the CEOs and managing directors like you, some of them are always quoting only Tata's as their role model or inspiration. And nevertheless, it goes without saying why your organization has developed growth in terms of across all spectrum of life 360-degree. It is because of such a high role models you have in your mind all the time, which really propels you, which really inspires you to consistently put your efforts in such good direction, noble direction. As you rightly said, it is more than bottom line. I feel the pride of building an enterprise and satisfying all stakeholders. That is really amazing. It's a great learning for budding entrepreneurs, mid-cap organizations who are on the path of growing, and the business leaders, even the organization, various organizations. They have to capture these insights from whatever you shared right now, which is very very profound. I mean, to me, it is really profound, really heart touching, and it gives me human satisfaction. We always use the word feel good factor. The moment you started sharing about what is more important when I get to meet people outside, when I say that I am from GHCL and they should feel happy, that kind of words we used, we always use the word called feel good factor. So we should always feel, something happy to present our organization to others. I'm extremely happy. I'm sure the stakeholders in your organization, right from the promoters and the directors and the C-suite leaders and the entire team talent pool across the various divisions of your organization will be very, very happy to have you as a managing director of an organization and guiding them. You are the guiding light for each one of them. I've heard more about you in Madurai when I met your HR head. So he shared a lot about you, but the kind of learning he has undergone, all that. So I'm extremely happy about that. I'm really blessed to have this conversation with you, though it is a very short one. And any final words, sir, about this conversation or anything you want to say?
Mr. Like I said, I will be very happy if I can do something for anybody, either the entrepreneur of a medium scale or for the society. Because you see, whatever you have earned or learned over a period of time, it gets enriched if you give back to someone. So at the age of now, what age I am now, my definitely my feeling is I should go maximum to the people. I don't know whether I can give the right input to them or not, but whatever I know, I must share that my knowledge, my experience to the people, and I'll be very happy if I can build something, the smallest thing for the enterprise, and that ultimately builds the nation. Because ultimately, every small pieces builds the nation. If I can do something for a very small portion for anybody, I think that will be towards the nation building. So I'll be very proud of doing that.
Thank you so much. So hope you enjoyed this conversation talk, though it is very brief, and I'm sure you will be very happy. And thank you very much for joining me in this conversation. So I look forward to take more interviews in the future on a specific subject so that we can take this message to hundreds and thousands of entrepreneurs in the country to get benefited out of your experience. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
I'm really happy that you gave me an opportunity, and surely anytime when you feel, I'll be very happy of partnering with you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for joining me, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.